So, because the weird, it's a 5 week, isn't it? Isn't it a weird month?
Yeah. So technically yes, but no, because September's the 5 Friday, right?
Right.
So technically we should record next week, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the Patreon, and it would be the 6th and the 20th. But isn't the 20th when you're going to New York?
Nope.
You're going the 13th.
Yep.
Which is the week that I'm leaving to go to Florida.
Yep.
So we're good. We don't need to do nothing then. We just skip this last week in September, and then we just do the 6th and the 20th.
Okay. Yep, that's all fine, because I'm gone the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Right. And then
I got confused on when you, like, you know what I mean? Your whole deal was, so.
Yeah. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, we could record this weekend, release it the following week, and then record as normal on the 20th, but I forget what New York is. And then, obviously take into consideration that you're leaving the Thursday, and then I'm not leaving till the Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I think we're good then.
Right, and we're doing the extra pickup on the 12th of the Sandman thing.
Right, but it couldn't be the 12th.
Okay. Oh, the 11th. The 11th.
Fair enough. I was just like, I can't do it.
No, I knew it was that week. I just knew it wasn't the day that we were normally recording.
Yep.
The 11th, and then that'll go out the following week when I'm gone and you get a week off and Adam gets a week off.
Right.
I got something planned to go out for all the feeds that week, but we'll see how it goes.
Right. I mean, who knows? It could get all screwed up, and I don't know. Right. We'll see.
Yeah, so that's what I just wanted to double check. So we're good. Doing the 6th and the 20th is scheduled. And then, like I said, we just need to do the pickup for Sandman on the 12th, which shouldn't be too bad, because if I'm looking at the schedule for Sandman,
it should just be issue 75.
Well, no. Okay, so that's the thing. So this week we just did 71 and 72.
Mm-hmm.
Next week is so on the episode of the 4th, because like this week as we're recording, we're like, all right, read 73, 74 for next week, right?
Right.
So then next week it'd be like, okay, read 75.
Mm-hmm.
So then we would just have 75 to read. That would come out on the 18th, and then we have to just remember to say, like, okay, for the following week after that is just Sandman Midnight Theater.
Oh, so that works out. We have one thing. It's kind of a bigger thing.
Yeah.
And you get one out of the way and we're done. You know what I mean?
Right.
The only other thing, would we wait on reviewing the TV shows till we came back then?
Yes.
Fair enough. I just wanted to know if I needed to watch, because then I'm not going to rush to watch, if that makes any sense. Because the Tuesday Ahsoka will be on, and then we're recording Wednesday. I would be able to get it in and watch it and get it out of the way, so we didn't have double, and then maybe Loki the next week too?
Well, no, okay, so...
Or would Ahsoka have already been off? Because
Ahsoka would already be off.
Okay, then we would just double up on Loki, which is fine.
Yeah. It's like, obviously, tonight, or like this week, the 27th, whatever, or the 26th, because it goes out on Tuesday, the second to last episode of Ahsoka is going out, right?
Right.
The next week, the 3rd is the last episode of Ahsoka, and then the 5th is the first episode of Loki.
Right. Okay.
So then what we would have to do when we come back to record on the week of the 17th is we would have 2 episodes of Loki to discuss.
Which I'm fine with. That.
Unless the first episode of Loki stinks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, right, yeah. So unless the first episode of Loki stinks when we do it on the 10th, and then we have the week off, we're just like, whatever, right?
Which could happen. You never know. But
yeah.
So all that works for me. That wasn't a logistical nightmare,
I just wanted to kind of get it out on the air, so it's kind of like, because we talk about it, and we go back and forth with the emails on it, but it's another thing to get it out on the air, just so it's out there so we know.
Yeah. So, it's good. That's good. it's like us trying to put together a season of sports scheduling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
So how are you? How was your week? How was everything?
My weekend was good. I got out to watch football with Josh. We went down to Wilkes-Barre. Scott was supposed to come, but got hamstrung and he wasn't able to make it out. So we would have stayed up our way. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
But it did. So it's whatever. We saw the game, and Josh's Dolphins put a 70 burger on somebody, Joe.
That's that was making the rounds, you know? Yep. That was like a big deal. Is that like the biggest win or like the biggest point margin?
Okay. So they were in the fourth quarter and they were like trying to take their foot off the gas. You know what I mean? It's like, we're just going to run the ball. You know, like we're not going to pass. We're not going to get crazy. And we're going to put the second string in. And they start running it, and there's these giant holes in the line that you could drive a truck through. And it's like, all right, well, I have a 60-yard shot to the end zone. I'm not just sitting down. I'm the second string. I'm trying to prove myself. So they get it, and then in the end, there was time left on the clock. So they have the 70 points, and they're in field goal range. And if they had kicked the field goal and made it, I think it was the highest score in a football game ever was 71 or 72. Don't hold me to which one. But if they'd kicked it and make it, they would have had it.
Yeah.
And in the end, they kneeled. And they're like, oh, well, you know, because then if you kick it, it's running up the score. And you're being insulting. So I'm of two minds. Either way you did it, you're going for a record. I have no problem when a team goes for a record, but I also have no problem with let's leave a little dignity left on the table for those sour, those terrible. I think it was the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, so
they're terrible, and nobody likes the Broncos. Anybody who likes the Broncos is not a good person. But anyway.
I literally know at least 5 people that like the Broncos.
I know somebody who's in a fantasy league who likes the Broncos.
I was gonna say, and two of them are my brothers. Mm-hmm. One of them is the fantasy league. Yeah. The other one, I think, is referee Jake Clemens from AIW, and I can't remember who the fifth person is, but I'm sure they're out there. Margin of error, plus or minus one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But are the Broncos that bad? The Dolphins are that good, or both?
Both. I do not think that they are going to do what they did. I think they're going to win. There's 17 games in the season now. They're going to win 15. I have no problem saying that could happen. Yeah. You know, because undefeated's tough. You know what I mean? But are they going to foist that many points on everybody along the way? No. Denver is really bad.
Right.
Like I could smell Denver from here. That's how bad they are.
So again, there might be more football talk. I don't know. But this is how entrenched football is these days. It just goes to show you how popular it is. I know this weekend that Miami is playing Buffalo at Buffalo.
Right.
Okay. So one of the other podcasts that I listen to, the Creep Off, not that they need me to plug them. Mm-hmm. They do a bit where they pick a subject. Each of the hosts bring a creep or someone, usually a murderer, sometimes something to do with children of that, whatever the subject is. Like this past week was high school football coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had to specifically say high school football coaches, so it wasn't a rush to see who picked Jerry Sandusky, right?
Right.
So they make their case why their whatever they picked is the biggest creep. The fans vote, and then once one of the people gets to 5, they have to spin the wheel of consequences. They go back and forth. They're both guys that live in Rochester, which is in the greater Buffalo area. Obviously, one is a legitimate Bills fan. The other one is a legitimate Dolphins fan. And the guy who's the Bills fan has to go to the game this Sunday with the guy who's the Dolphins fan, both of them wearing Dolphins regalia.
Oh, that's going to go over well.
Right.
Well, at least they're not in Philadelphia.
Yes, and that's right. And
where you'll get stabbed, So, still the worst fans in all of football, the Philadelphia Eagle fans.
Right. And they were talking about the Bills Mafia and the nonsense they do and so on and so forth. And
I don't like to bring it up, but there's a lot of tables involved with what they do.
Right. They're not trained. I'll just say they're not trained professionals. So it's very funny when they hit the tables wrong and they hurt themselves for real.
Right, and have to go to a local medical facility.
But yeah, so, I don't know. I can't remember what happened here this week. I think I took a nap, for a good chunk of Sunday because it's been so rainy and shitty.
Mm-hmm.
The chains to close down the pool keep getting moved and moved.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago, we were all COVIDed up.
Right, you pissed off for COVID.
Right, we were COVIDed up and it was raining. This past week, it was just raining. So
right. So I could see you looking at April over the dinner table and just going, you know what? We don't have a pool anymore. We have a skating rink. It's a skating rink this year. And then we'll cover it up next year.
No, I don't. I want to get it closed. It's trying to drain a pool during a torrential downpour feels like a feat of futility. Right.
Well, it's only going up by a half inch as I drain it. So.
But still, and we got an extra. I went and bought the extra big hose, so it drains real fast.
Oh, I know what those are like. Yes.
Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. Fingers crossed. It's supposed to get back up to the 70s and no rain this weekend. So we're eyeballing up this weekend to close down the pool,
right? And
then that'll be that.
Yep. So I'll get off football, but because we don't have much time here. So the Raiders played. We'll just leave it at that. So, I mean, I know you said you don't want to be on late tonight, so the Raiders played. We'll leave it at that.
What's the Raiders quarterback? Janine Garofalo. What's his name?
Yes, Janine Garofalo, Raiders quarterback.
What's his name? Am I close?
Yes, I don't know if you're pulling a Todd legitimately or don't know.
I can't. Well, is he the quarterback?
He is, even though he might not be this week because he's in concussion protocol.
Listen, just rub some dirt on it; he'll be fine.
That's what I say. But Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Todd Garoppolo.
I knew his first name wasn't Janine.
Right.
And I knew, again, deconstructing me being Todd, but I knew his last name was Garoppolo. I just thought it'd be funnier to say Garofalo.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. So yeah, I saw that he got a boo-boo.
Yep. So we'll see how that works out. But that was the late game. But after football, I was like, okay, I'm down in Wilkes-Barre, and I need to get new jeans. So I'm going to go over to the Big and Tall store, right?
All right.
Because that's the last place. They used to have one right here by me, and I liked it. And we've discussed, trying to try on hefty man pants, through the mail is just, a futility.
Now, did the one up by you close?
Yes, completely closed. And during
it was in that little plaza there, where there was, the train store and whatever the else was there, right? Or am I thinking of somewhere else?
So. No, it was close to there. It was just up the road on the same side from where the Chinese buffet and hibachi was. Now it's
where the Pizza Hut was.
Yes, that's the stat. It was a few lots up from there, and then during the pandemic, they discontinued the jeans I wore. So I knew what jeans I wanted. So I knew what jeans I wanted, and then if I lost weight or put on weight, I would just do a size, if that makes any sense. So they completely got rid of them. You can't get them anymore. So now I'm trying to do clothes, and it's okay, it's not working. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to try these on. And there's I want
to interject. It's a specific brand, right?
Right. I always did Levi's 560s. Were the jeans I got.
The reason I ask, and again, listen, you're saying you're going to the Big and Tall man stores, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you, just given a passing whatever, to like the thrift store, Goodwill store, Salvation Army, that sort of thing?
No, I never even thought
any of that stuff has kind of filtered its way through there.
No, never even thought about that.
Okay, just a thought, because like I said, I haven't found stuff for me there because I'm big and tall, but I'm like an irregular big and tall.
Right. I'm a big and short, so there's a difference because I have shorter legs. So, but anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so it's just that like I've gone and I always look like whenever April has dragged us there, I'm like, oh, let me look through. Let me see if they have anything close to my size. Okay. And like I buy a pair there for $5 and they don't fit. It's not the end of the world.
Right.
That's all. Just throwing it out there. That might be an option for you. Right. But go ahead.
So I go down and the guy, and there was another rotund gentleman working there. And he's like, what do you want? I said, I wanted the 560s. So give me like a Levi's kind of, I'm brand loyal. And they're just so like baggy in the back of the legs and the ass and the pants I had on. He goes, man, I want to say this nicely. He goes, but those pants are so baggy. Like that cut is wrong for you. And he's helping me out. And he's like, try these on. And they're called True Nation. He goes, and they're athletic fit. And I looked at him and he goes, no. I goes, I'm like you. We're not athletes. Right. He goes, but they're not baggy. They're like tapered a little bit. Joe, they fit so good. And he was like, those pants are supposed to be baggy. And I'm like, they're the best fitting pants I've ever had. But no, they were really good. And then I ended up like going down. I think I went down a size on my t-shirts. And we're doing all this. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to lie. I don't have enough money to buy all this today. I said, I'm going to come back when you're working because I think he works on commission and I'll get it all. But we're going to write down everything I need. And we'll have the SKU numbers, you know what I mean? Because I could order them online, but they don't have like free shipping at a certain point. And he goes, but if you order them here, we can have them free shipped to your house. I'm like, this is all great. I'm going to come. And he's like, so I'm trying on pants because they don't have everything in every size. You know what I mean? Like colors and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, this is the same pants in a tan, but let's see if this size is for you. And I'm like, oh, these are perfect. I don't even have to hem them. Blah, blah. And he goes, you should buy those pants in tan. They look really good on you. And I'm like, dude, no. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, blue. Like, we're doing blue. He's like, I don't have blue. I said, can we order blue? He's like, yeah. I said, but I don't know, those tan. I'm like, dude, you don't know me. You do not know me. There will be no tan pants in my house, right? So I'm not saying it that way, but like, dude. So he's like, okay, well, let's try on the shirts, the pocket tees that you like. Just this size, any size. He's like, oh, that green looks great on you. Do you have these in black? He's like, how many black ones do you want? And I gave him the number. Joe, it was more than a few, right? Because when I buy them in bulk because they go on sale. When you buy them, if you buy one and you buy the second one is like 50 or 75% off. So I'm like, because they exorbitant for the big and tall shirt. Then when you buy them in multiples, they drop down. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, okay, well, these are the SKU numbers. And on this one, on the pants, the SKUs went by colors, even though they were the same type of jeans. He goes, but on the shirts, it doesn't matter. We could just get you any color. He's like, we have purple and white and yellow. And I'm like, and black. And he's like, oh, but these are nice colors. And I'm like, and black. Because he's trying. I'm like, I'm going to buy the same amount. You get your commission if you get one. Unless you get a bigger commission on green because they're not selling. But it ain't happening. And he was trying to sell me on this color pant and these color shirts. And I came back and he's like, you sure you don't want? I'm like, X amount of jeans in that color, that length, that size, and X amount of black shirts with a pocket. Here's my cash. Let's end this fight on what, we're doing. But I found it funny that this guy is like trying to get me in white t-shirts and red t-shirts. I'm like, it's not happening. But kudos to Ted. He was a good man who helped me out, at least finding the sizes.
I think it was definitely because you bit on the jeans that he wanted you to try.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, I got this guy in the hook. Let me see what else I can get him for, right?
Well, that was the thing. And he was trying to, like, when I came back today, they had like a super light blue and a super, like not a dark blue, but I wanted the lighter blue. And in the day that I came, they didn't have the size that I wanted anymore. He goes, so we could go with the darker blue. And I was like, well, we'll see. I might just buy the shirts today and I'll go online. I'm like, if I want to help out the store that's here.
Yeah.
But if you don't have them and this is what I want, we're not playing what else can I find? And he's like, oh, well, I'm like a problem solver. We'll find something. I'm like, do you have it in light blue in my size? No. Then there's no problem solving. You've given me now what I want. I do not want to find another thing.
Right. This isn't solve for X or
right.
X variable where you can plug in something and it'll work. No, there's a very specific, this is what I need. This one thing. Do you have this one thing? No, we're moving on.
Right. Well, here's the thing. And we're already one thing away from the thing that I was using. I do not want to go two things. This is double change, even though I haven't changed anything because I didn't buy the jeans. It's like now I don't want to do the throw the jeans over the door and try them on, come out, look at them. I'm like, we found something that fits great and I like it. So we're going with that. And then he was like, okay. And I saw online on Amazon, they had them and stuff. And I was like, and he knew I found them on Amazon. So he's like, well, I can give you, and they're the same price. He goes, I can give you the slightly darker blue, which I didn't mind because I was kind of thinking about getting them. He goes, but I think we could find a coupon. I was like, okay, if we find a coupon, we could do it. And I got a percentage off the slightly darker blue, which will fade as they're washed. And they're like the color of my old jeans when they were brand new. But I was kind of looking for the lighter blue. I know that's a lot of color talk, but in the end, I ended up getting jeans and shirts, and I was like, okay. But I needed a new belt because I went down sizes too. And he's like, oh, well, we have belts. And I'm like, no. And I told him straight up, I'm not buying one of your belts. And he's like, why? We have high-quality belts. I said, yeah, you have high-quality belts here that are so overpriced. You have $50 belts. You have $40 belts. I said, I can get the same size. I'm coming here to try one of these on, see what size I want, and then I'm going to go on Amazon and get the same belt for like $18. I said, yeah. The shirts I like. I like the shirts you sell, and they're more than like Harbor Beige or not Old Navy shirts or whatever, but I like them, so I'll buy them. But I said, a belt, you're not getting me on the markup on the belt. And he's like, okay. But he kept trying on the belt, and then that's when I was like, we could stop all this transaction. You know what I mean? And the belt went away. The belt went away. I was like, okay. But so yeah, that was my day today getting closed. And that's not even the end of my week, Joe. There was more, Joe.
Weren't you just a month ago saying, I'm a hermit, I'm never leaving my house,
okay, well,
I'm never interacting with humans again?
The next stuff has to do with stuff in my house. Or my house. So, for the last, like, a week or so, 2 weeks, there's been, like, a noise in my basement. I thought it was, like, we're getting cooler, so my gas boiler's coming on.
Is it a ghost?
It might be a ghost. Have April come over and check for me.
She'll only be over if it's a baby ghost.
A baby ghost. I hear they go for the eyes, the baby ghosts. But so, and it's getting louder and louder, and I figured out what it was, right? So and I'm getting ready to do something about it, but I had to go over around the corner from my house where my father has the rental property, and the water people are outside, and they're like putting their ear on these things that are like in the shutoff valve in the ground. And I'm like, are you looking for a leak? And he goes, yeah, there's a leak down here somewhere. We don't know where it is. And these are the first two houses that we started. I said, I can make your life a hell of a lot easier. He's like, what do you mean? It's at my house. And they're like, really? I said, you want to come around? It's only on the other street parallel, 5 houses up. They're like, okay, let's go over. And he opens up the water shutoff that's in the ground in the yard, and he puts the T-bar in there for shutting it off. And he goes, well, let me get my electronics to like see, because that's how they listen. They have headphones and this device. I said, don't even put your ear to that. And he goes, I can hear it. I said, wait until you hear it in the basement. He's like, oh, it's loud. You have a leak somewhere. So the guy goes in. There's two of them. He goes down. They're talking on the phone. He's like, I can hear it down here. Shut it off at the shut off in the yard. He shuts it off and the noise goes away. He says, all right, at least we know that it's between the shut off and your meter somewhere, like obviously outside the house. That's none of our responsibility unless you have the insurance. I said, I don't have insurance. I'm not a schmuck, right?
Oh, wait a minute.
Well, we'll get there. So he's like, okay, it's only $6 a month. I said, yeah, but I'm never getting it. And because somebody we know, and I won't mention any names, did a water company insurance opportunity. Ooh. They also heard the water in their basement from outside and knew they had a leak in the yard. So they bought the insurance, let it run for a month, because you need to let it run for a full month, and then called them, paid $6 or $7. They came out, they did the work, and left. Joe, when they left the yard looked like shit, if I remember correctly. So the trench, they don't fill it in and level it or put grass or anything. It's just a mound of dirt, up, down, falling over here. So your yard looks like shit. I'm 99% sure they took down the chain link fence and didn't put it back the right way. Ooh. So now you got to pay these people to do all this stuff, and they only patch the line. I'm putting in a whole new line, because if it's breaking there, it's going to break somewhere else, and I'm going to have to pay the insurance. So when it breaks again in a spot, I'm going to have it dug up, and it's going to look like shit. No. But as I say all this, they're like, okay, so you have to have it fixed in X amount of days, blah, blah, blah. And the mailman's coming, and this is hand to God, Joe. The mailman comes and hands me a new form from the water company for water line insurance. And I just ripped it up in front of them. I'm like, and I told them why. And they go, yeah, we understand. So now I had to find a guy. There's a guy who puts his equipment that he does excavating. He's a friend of the family on the Cinnabon property. Mm-hmm. So for free. So he's like, I'll dig the yard. That's not a problem. I'll dig it for free. He goes, now we got to find a guy. So I'm calling people. Nobody wants to do the job because they're like, oh yeah, we'll come out and dig it. Don't got to dig. I got an excavator. Oh, I don't want to do it. It's not enough work. It's running one piece of copper hose or pipe into the house, hooking it up to the water meter and hooking it up to the main. That'll take them like a half hour, an hour, if there's no problems. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but they don't want it because they come out for an hour, they get there. But if they dig, they could charge for the machine, you know what I mean? And overcharge. I'm like, it's not happening. So luckily this guy found somebody who actually knew us from years ago, did plumbing for us. And he works with this guy. He's like, yeah, I'll come out and do it. We'll get this banged out in a day at the most. I'll come, I'll measure everything. I'll have everything ready. What do you want? I want a hose. I want a shut off valve. I want everything. He's like, good. We're done. He goes, and the one guy who stores the machines and he excavates, he goes, he won't get you. He's like, he's an honest guy. And the guy on our property is friends for our family for 40 years. So I'm not worried about getting got by him. So Thursday they have to come and dig all that. I'll be doing that. And Joe, my week's not over yet.
Todd.
Yes.
Are you supposed to be staying out of trouble?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I still have water because we can leave the water on and it's leaking in the yard. So be it. It's not coming in the house. So I go to do a load of wash, and I'm washing my clothes, and I come upstairs. I'm like, oh, I'm playing Grand Theft Auto or whatever. I'm like, oh, it's been about an hour, so definitely the washer's off. I go down, I pull my clothes out, and they're soaked. Like, there's no water in the washer, but it's completely soaked. And I'm like, oh, like, well, let me put it back on, because sometimes my washer will, like, freak out between the rinse and the spin cycle. It'll, like, get hot, and it won't go. And so you just put it on spin, and it'll like suck the water out of the clothes, and you're good to go. So I do that, and all I hear is, it won't work. and I reach in and I turn like the rotator, the thing that spins the clothes, and it's like broke in a spot and it's spinning completely around. So I'm like, oh, my washer's broke. So I have to get a new washer, or I can have it repaired. And everybody's telling me, well, how old is your washer? And I said, 40 year? Like, older than the previewing the past? And, and they're like, what? And I'm like, no, 40 years, probably, maybe more. And they're like, you're not going to get parts for that. And if you do get parts for that, like a washer, which I want a no bells and whistles washer, is like $450.
Yeah.
Right. That's, but I want a bigger size. I don't want like a 3 cubic, whatever. I want kind of a bigger one. I priced them real quick. So $450 to $550. So I have to go buy one of those this week and do that right before I'm going to New York Comic Con, Joe. So it's a fun week.
Well, luckily you're out of the original art business.
That is true. I'm completely out of the original art business, unless ... But
yeah. So Todd, you had a busy week, huh?
Yep. And now I have to do all this, get the pipe thing, and then go look at washers. So
yeah.
I'll let you know how your pipe and how your washer is next week, hopefully.
Well, I'm hoping my new washer is good. It's so funny that you have such an old washing machine. I was just looking at ours the other day because we had the ones when we moved in here in 2005. We had the ones that came with the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we did have to replace the washer. Let's say 8 or 9 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
The dryer, and we got we got it from somebody else. Like, I think my in-laws were getting rid of them. They got like the top of the line, like the front load and everything,
No, all metal top. That's what you want.
I don't need none. Right.
I don't need knobs. One knob for the size of the load that you're going to be doing, and one knob for 3 knobs. I'm sorry. One knob for the size of the load, one knob for the temperature of the water, and one for like delicate or heavy clothes. And that's it. That's all you need on a washer.
So I think we had gotten theirs, and we had gotten their washer and dryer, but their dryer is electric, and our dryer that it was old, however long, like 18 years ago, we moved it in the house. That dryer's still running.
Yep. Knock on wood. Yeah.
Every once in a while, like the drum in the back, we have a tube of like machine lubricant.
Yep.
Just got to give
silicone grease, right?
Yeah, the silicone grease. We just got to give it a little squirt on that, and then we're okay, and it works just fine.
Mine is starting to squeak, so I have to like pull it away from the wall and see where I have to give it the old greasing, Joe.
Yeah, but like it's just a thing of we can't get an electrician here because we're still running the pool off an extension cord.
Oh, they won't like that.
But it's a heavy duty extension cord that may have been borrowed from a job site.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we've been running off that since we've had the pool, and we've called like 3 different electricians, and either they give us they're like, oh yeah, we'll be out on XYZ day, and then they just never show up, and then they stop returning our calls. Or we call them and like, oh, we're so-and-so, we referred by X. They said that you did this for them, and we're looking for you to do the same thing for us. Give us a call. And they never call us back, right?
Right.
So it's not from a lack of trying. So this past weekend, we got the number for a 4th one. And it's one of those things that's like, well, we're going to call them and say like, hey, we need something so we could do the pool. But also, while you're here, can you do the switch over from the gas to the electric dryer that we have sitting down here that's been sitting in our basement for 8 years? It's just we don't have we can't do the converting thing from gas to electric on it,
Right, you don't have the whatever, like it's like 440 or something like that. You need
whatever the hell it is, right?
Right, whatever the voltage is. Which you might have to run a new cable in for that if you don't have. Like you're gonna need do you need is that like a 3-prong regular like toaster or refrigerator plug on the end of that dryer?
Yes.
Oh, then you should be good. I was thinking because the plugs for like bigger voltages and stuff for electric dryers, they have a completely bigger plug and they look completely different.
I know I know what you're talking about.
The prongs are like at a weird angle, so you can't jam them in a regular socket.
Exactly.
But well, hopefully our dryer's problems, your dryer problem, my washer problems will be over soon. And
well, again, it's not a dryer problem, it's an electrician problem, but it's neither here nor there. Again, if they come, they come. If they don't, whatever, right?
Right. I have an electrician that my father drinks with, so I get him when the guy runs out of money and my father buys him drinks, then he's an indentured servant and he does the electrical in my house. It's good being the man with the most cash in the dive bar. That's what my father always says.
And that's not even a high bar, really.
No, it's actually a low bar because it's down here in the flats by my house.
There you go. Perfect way to get out of this. Thanks, everyone, for listening. This was episode 463, Longbox Heroes After Dark, patreon.com/longboxheroes. The new Previewing the Past will be up next week. As you heard the schedule at the beginning of the show. You got our whole itinerary for the month of October. And, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you all here next week.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.